Man.
All right, sounds good.
Bearded Bear Podcast. Back at it. Michael Reese along with Angelo Pasquinelli. It's been a couple weeks, man. Just real quick, how you feeling, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just want to let everybody know we're not sponsored by Miller Lite. This is just a hat. How are you feeling, Mike?
It's been rough, man. Just I'll give a quick just like overall of what was going on. So the night of the Denver game, I actually got food poisoning.
Oh man.
So I was down bad with food poisoning till like Wednesday, I want to say. And then at that point, my wisdom tooth got extremely swollen. Well, the gums around it got extremely swollen. And I cannot pronounce the name of the infection, but it's like something with the O. And my jaw got swollen, like my neck got swollen. Uh, and it was rough. Like I couldn't close my mouth all the way. So I was talking with like a weird lisp. Um,
I know it's not funny, but it's funny, you know.
it's crazy, but yeah, that's what I've kind of been dealing with. But I'm back and hopefully good until I'm able to get these teeth pulled. But even if it happens again, it's no excuse, man. We're locked in.
That's right. Locked in, man.
Um,
Unfo-
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying. Unfortunately, we have to be locked in.
Yeah, we do, just because of how fast things are changing, and that's just going to take us right into our first topic today. So we haven't spoke since the Denver game. Um, I don't even really want to touch up on the two games that we missed. I guess Minnesota is some importance because it was the Justin Fields injury, uh, dislocation in his thumb. Eberflus actually said today that the injury is week to week, which is good. No surgery, no IR, and he's trending in the right direction. It's been a lot of conversation about was that Fields' last game. I'll just let you take over from there. What are you feeling, man? Do you think that was Fields' last game, and do you think his time is done in Chicago?
So before we get into that, just to touch on, we're not really going to touch on the Washington game, but I want to touch on Minnesota. That he only threw for 55 yards or so before he got hurt, and the two previous games, he's thrown for over 300. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what changed in those 2 weeks, but if it's week to week, I think he'll play. He plays again this year. Do I think
hmm,
his time is done with the Bears? I do, unfortunately. Um, I I don't know if the Bears really ruined him per se. I just don't think they have the right coaching around for the kind of quarterback that he is.
yeah,
My thing is, they asked him, I can't remember what game that was, the Denver game, where they said, would you still kick a field goal, or would you still have gone for it knowing what you know if it happened again? Yes, I'd still go for it. I wouldn't kick a field goal.
yeah.
Well,
The Denver game, I think.
yeah, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you adjust? That's to me the problem with coaches, just in general in the NFL. You have too many guys with big egos. I Monday night's game, the Giants play, and
Hmm.
Brian Dable gets in the ass of Tyrod Taylor. Number
Yeah,
one, I understand you're the coach, and that was probably the reason you lose the game. But you got a backup quarterback playing who you gave an option to switch from a pass to a run. That's your fault as the coach,
yeah,
and I feel like that's the problem. There's too much ego in the Bears organization for someone to admit that, hey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have went for it. I should have kicked a field goal. I cost us the game.
yeah. I agree with you on a lot of those statements. Definitely, I feel like this year it's been more so than years previous, or maybe just because I'm paying attention on a deeper level
Yeah.
this year. But the calls around the league are just bad. Like a lot of
Oh,
teams are just. It's not. I'm gonna adjust to the talent on my team. It's I'm this mega mind, and this is what we're gonna run, and it's gonna work. That's not what successful teams do. Now, with Fields, a lot of people said the quality of opponent, right, is what changed from Washington to Minnesota. But me personally, Minnesota's defense isn't good.
No.
They blitz every down. And overall, as a team, the Bears just didn't have a plan to succeed. And that was with Fields and with Tyson, if we're being honest here. I do think Fields plays again this year. I I don't know when, and I honestly I don't know what that will look like when he does come back. Um, but what I don't like is how people are kind of they already pushed Fields like out. Like he's already out in so many people's minds. And there's a lot of steps that goes into this. We don't have a guaranteed first overall pick for one. You have the Patriots with one win. You have Denver with one win. You have Arizona with one win. You have a lot of teams that are one-win teams that are going to be in the hunt for quarterbacks. That's one. For two, the Bears and Panthers play in 2 weeks. So so there's no guarantee that we even get the first overall pick. If
Right.
that happens, how can you even justify saying, well, Fields is still gone? What to who? Who's the replacement?
I don't even know how to say this dude's name. What Badgent? Is that how you say it?
Tyson Badgent.
Badgent. Okay. So I was watching Fox 32 or whatever, and after the game, and they're like, well, he's a second string. You got to give him a pass on the interception and the scoop and score. You got to give him a pass. He comes in the middle of the game. No, bro, you lost the game. You cost them the game because you fumbled and they scored. We went down and scored and we were down by a touchdown because of you. Listen, I've been a Chicago Bears fan my whole life, and I know how Bears fans are. Chase McDaniels, that was his name, right? Chase McDaniels. He's a backup for Jay Cutler. Wasn't that his name? Or Chase Daniels.
That was Caleb Haney, I believe.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about when he got injured, and no, that was Josh McCown actually.
Okay. Well, see, also Chase McDaniel or Chase Daniels or whatever his name is, and the other dude that you said, it's happened 3 times where the backup comes in and has a good game, and all Bears fans are like, "Oh, bench the starter. This is who we need." And then the next game, the guy comes out and sucks. They're a backup for a reason. This guy he broke a bunch of records in Division II college football. He obviously wasn't good enough to play Division I. So, hey, I'm not trying to take anything away from this kid. I hope he succeeds. And if he succeeds for the Bears, even better. But Bears fans got to chill, man. This guy is not the answer.
Yes. So I have that's like my biggest beef with this entire process right now. I don't really like how Fields is getting treated in the narrative around him now that he's injured. Because 2 weeks ago, he figured it out. He threw for 8 touchdowns in 2 games, 1 interception, should have beat Denver. We destroyed Washington. He gets hurt. And now all of a sudden, Tyson Badgent is the savior. Fields can get out of here. Slow down. I know this is a city where the backup quarterback is always the most popular player on the team. I get it. And I'm not even saying Tyson doesn't have the talent because he could have played D1 at West Virginia, but there's no guarantee he would have succeeded there. We know what we know, and that's it. We shouldn't set these high expectations and just automatically crown him. Oh, he reads the defense faster. He does release the ball faster. I will give you that. But also, what people are failing to realize is when he came in the game against Minnesota, those were one read throws. He did not have to sit there and survey the field and, make adjustments. It was hike, see your route, throw it, which is good for him. That's how it should be. He's like you said, a rookie D2 quarterback. But what I'm not understanding is how does he get the pass for terribly underthrowing DJ, for not having the pocket awareness, sack, scoop, and score. But when Fields does those things, it's just automatically he doesn't have it. And that's what my biggest beef is with this entire scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% there. I just, listen, if the kid succeeds, that's awesome. But like you said, it's one read throws. And also, he's a rookie. Guess what? He knows DJ Moore's on that team. He's not stupid. That's who he's looking for probably 95% of the time. Hey, if I can get it to DJ Moore, he can make something happen.
Mm-hmm. As he should.
And again, I saw that Cole Kmet was open on plenty of plays that they didn't throw him the ball because they keep looking downfield for no reason. The underthrown ball to DJ Moore, Cole Kmet was open and there was nobody around him. He had a first down. He probably had 20 yards. And they decided, because you said it's a one read throw, he's looking for DJ Moore. He's not going to look to the side and see that Kmet's there. That's, Gase has to change the offense for Badgent.
I don't really blame Badgent necessarily for that last throw because, I mean, you do have DJ one-on-one, right? It looked like press coverage. 9 times out of 10, you do want to give DJ that chance. But back to what you were saying, Getsy has to understand the situation. You're right up on the 2-minute warning. You're in plus territory. You needed a yard for a first down. Why even call that play when Deontay Foreman was gashing them that drive? So we can sit here and say, that was a terrible throw by Tyson. It was like he didn't step into it. It was horrible. But why was he even in the position?
I thought he got hit though. Didn't he get hit? And that's why.
No, he didn't. So he threw it and then did like this 360 spin because the pressure was closing in. And I mean, he didn't step into the throw. But my bigger beef is like, why is that the play call there?
Yeah.
You're trying to run down the clock and score and not give Minnesota enough time to drive. Well, that's what a competent OC would do. Like, why are we taking a shot play, the play right before the 2-minute warning when you need 1 yard on second down?
Right. And you're absolutely right. That's the problem. The offensive play calling has been absolutely horrendous.
Inconsistent.
And inconsistent. I feel like the defense over the last, I'd say, month increasingly has been getting better. You know, they're playing more. They're giving more playing time to the rookies, which is kind of what you want to see. You want to see what these guys have, what you have, so you know what to look for in next year's offseason. But our offensive coordinator is just that it's just not it's not right. It's not. I just keep going back to Harbaugh for Baltimore. He has Joe Flacco, and they play a different style of offense when Flacco's there. They draft Lamar Jackson. He changes the whole entire offense.
Mm-hmm.
The whole entire offense gets changed. It's not, hey, you fit into my system. I'm going to get the most out of my player by changing the system to fit him. And that's what the problem is in Chicago all the time. They hire guys who want people to fit in their system. Why do you get rid of Roquan Smith? Roquan Smith's going to fit in any system no matter where he goes. And look what he's doing in Baltimore. I looked up his stats today. He played 6 games. He's got 63 tackles already. Come on, man. That guy's going to have probably the best season of his life. And it's not going to be for the Bears.
Yeah. A lot of and we're kind of in that same situation again because this season started off so poorly. You're just going to I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen, but even to be in the position where you may sell Jalen Johnson and you may sell Darnell Mooney at the trade deadline, to me, those are pieces you keep. To me, we're going backwards from the way you build a winning team. Sure, good players cost money. That's just the way it is. I'm not in those rooms. I don't know what those contract negotiations are. I understand Jalen Johnson doesn't get the number 1 corner interceptions, but at the same time, Jalen Johnson isn't playing with a defense that's creating pressure to allow those turnovers to happen. And he's still shutting down number 1 receivers every week. So I'm asking you as a GM, why would you not figure that out to work something out with him?
I mean, I 100% agree. You're paying JJ. It makes no sense not to. Like you said, so he's not getting the interceptions. I don't give a shit. When Darrelle Revis was playing, that was Revis Island. They called that for a reason because you don't throw over there. He locked down a whole side of the field. I don't care if he had 1 interception his whole career. If he's holding guys to 10 yards a game and they're their number 1 receiver, I'm cool with that every game. I do. I get what you're saying with Mooney. I am thoroughly unimpressed by Mooney this year. He's got,
The
I think,
chemistry's been off for sure.
yeah, I think he's got like 11 catches for like 150 yards in six
Yeah.
games. That's pretty bad, but you probably could bring him back on a pretty cheap deal, just
Right.
just because it's his contract year and he's not doing anything.
Right. And he's just one of those players. I wasn't so to me, Jalen Johnson is almost in that like elite cornerback tier. To me, we've seen so many times he's on the number one receiver for the opposing team, and they're damn near have their hardest matchup of the season. Like, I'm not buying that whole, oh, he doesn't get interceptions. Well, shit, we don't get pressure. There's a rookie on the other side. Why would they throw there? So I'm not hearing that one. The Mooney, more so for me, is just that's a guy who understands the system. He has a lot of respect in that locker room. And when they do throw his way, he's pretty reliable. Like, we're not that far removed from him having his best season. And if you're looking at him as a number 3, let's say you do get a chance to get Marvin Harrison Jr. with DJ, now you got something. So I don't know if you can find a number 3 as good as Mooney for the amount of money you can possibly get him for. Because like you said, he hasn't really done anything this year.
I agree with you 100%. If he's your number 3, he's probably, besides the Bengals 3 receivers, he's probably the third, the best option as a third player,
Yeah.
So you said Marvin Harrison Jr. So I do have a question for you, your thoughts on this. So they get pick 1 and 2, right? Let's say that ends up happening.
That's where I was going next.
Perfect
Yeah.
segue then.
Yeah.
Do you want to see them draft Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr.? And before Mike says anything, just to let you guys know, he's a Buckeyes fan, so there may be some bias in there, but I'm curious to see what he says.
Admittedly, hey. So I'm not gonna, so what I think they will do and what I want them to do is 2 totally different things. And I would understand either way. I'm gonna say that first. Personally, outside of the bias, I do think if you put Justin in the right situation, meaning he has a reliable defense, he has a consistent play caller, and he has a line that he can trust in, you can win with him. That is just my personal opinion. We saw what happened in the Washington game. Even last year, with nothing on the roster, he had them in games single-handedly. Now, I understand defenses are playing him different now, but there's just so much wrong around him. He's not Mahomes. Maybe Mahomes in this situation, he's still eking out wins. He's just on a different level. But Josh Allen has a top 5 defense in the NFL. Jalen Hurts has a top 5 defense in the NFL. Tua has one of the best play callers plus the best weapons in the NFL.
Yeah, easily.
Brock Purdy has a top 5 defense. Like, any situation you name an elite quarterback or a top quarterback, look at what's around them. And then you get to Fields. And I just don't get how it's, oh, he just doesn't have it. Like, dude, he doesn't have shit. Inconsistent play caller is leading to inconsistent play. Like, that's not a surprise to me. But what I think they will do, I mean, if you get the number 1 pick again 2 years in a row, and Caleb is supposed to be a generational talent, I don't see them passing on that. Just off the strength of Ryan Poles trying to save his job. Like, how can you justify that? And then let's say Fields comes out, struggles again, they don't do it. Like, he's gone. So I just think that would be too big of a risk for him to pass up on, even though I may not like it personally.
So if they take Caleb Williams, if that's what you think, and they get the 2nd or 3rd pick, do you go after Marvin Harrison Jr. or do you pass and go after that edge rusher from Florida State?
See, to me, and that's the thing to me, that's why I want Fields to work so bad. And that's why I want them to believe that it can work if they put the right pieces in place, because this team just has so many holes. I don't know how you feel about Braxton Jones, but you have 2 stud left tackles coming out. You can fill that need by trading back. You can maybe trade back with Carolina or trade back with Vegas, the team we're about to play. Like, what you want for Max Crosby? What you want for Devontae? Like, and you can fill multiple holes with those picks instead of just going Caleb and Marvin. Yeah, that looks nice on paper. You still need a center. The line is still shaky at best. I don't know what's going on with Cody White here. You still have no 3 tech. You still have no edge rusher. You probably need safety help because Eddie's probably out of here.
Yep.
It's just so many holes that I don't know what you would do. Me personally, I would go Caleb and probably Olu from Penn State, like someone to protect him, which sucks. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's also why I wanted Fields to work out because, like you said, you could trade back, and Caleb Williams is coming out. You're going to get. You thought you got a lot last year from the Panthers.
Kings ran.
I mean, you could do whatever you want. You're going to get a ton of stuff for that first pick, and you could get an offensive lineman, an edge rusher, another wide receiver. You could really stack yourself up pretty well. And you got to think if they're the worst or the second worst or the third worst, their second round pick is damn near a first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I don't know. The whole Caleb Williams things is kind of weird to me because he's like, I'm not going to play for certain teams. I'm just going to go back to college. And if someone drafts me, I want a stake in the team. I mean, I don't know what he's smoking, but I mean, nobody's going to give him a stake in the team, and you haven't played a snap in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's honestly, to me, making me start to not want him on our team. He's kind of sounding like he's going to be a bit of a problem a little bit. And after what he did, so he plays an elite defense finally in college football, and he has a shit game, like a terrible game, and they got blown out. So I'm curious to see this weekend on how he responds, just to kind of see what happens in this mix. And hey, you know what? If he doesn't come out, whatever. You know what? We still have Justin Fields. It's not like Justin Fields is way above average. If you start thinking of these guys on teams like Atlanta, they have Desmond Ridder trash. And if for some reason they ever see this, I feel bad. But when we're comparing them to Justin Fields, I mean, Desmond Ridder, he's not that good. I think Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback. He's not better than Justin Fields.
No, he's on his way out.
I mean, I think Deshaun Watson is worse than Justin Fields, in my opinion.
At this moment, probably.
Yeah, at this moment in time, yes. So, I mean, you have these bottom-tier teams who all need quarterbacks, and you already have Justin Fields, and he's already been there and created this. I mean, if you listen to the players talk about Justin Fields, they want to win with him.
Yeah.
They believe that he is the leader. And once those guys buy into that, it's hard to take that guy out and put someone in and have them buy into that right away.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
Piggybacking off of your Caleb Williams take, I'm right there with you. And I've been there since last year, honestly. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with his talent. I think he's extremely talented. And honestly, the way and just the motions he can throw, the different arm angles, it is generational. The way he can improvise is generational. But when you're looking at a quarterback like this, and he's never won a big game in college. They lost to Utah last year. You get Notre Dame this year, and it's his worst game by far. It makes me a little suspicious. And then I'm not going to play for certain teams. Well, why? Because you can't carry the load, or you need to be in a perfect situation. Like, dude, that's not reality. The number one team is bad.
Right.
That's just what it is.
Right. Like almost always.
Like, that's just what it is, man. And if you don't have that dog in you to be like, no matter where I go, I'm going to be that guy to change it. I don't want you as my franchise quarterback. I don't care how talented you are, honestly.
Right, because when shit hits the fan, he's going to blame everybody but himself. It's going to be everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
So I start seeing this stuff, about after he said that. Well, what if they pass on Caleb Williams and go after Drake May? I don't know how you feel about that, but I've already watched a North Carolina quarterback play for the Bears. So I in my head, I think I'm so scarred by that I don't want them to go after him.
Yeah.
I'm actually cool with Sanders from Colorado.
Oh man,
Like,
Shador.
yeah, like I think that they could trade back from number one and get him later.
Yeah.
So they could still get a quarter if they said, hey, we're done with Justin Fields, because you got to think too. A lot of the GMs, they like to draft their guy. So when they get
Mhm.
fired, they said, at least I was drafted my guy, and I got fired because I drafted the guy I wanted. Justin
Yeah.
Fields didn't get drafted by polls.
He didn't.
So I feel like polls still isn't all in on the Justin Fields train. That almost makes me feel like that's why he's not being built around enough, but also the Bears don't like to spend money too. That's another problem.
Yeah. Well, the contract situation is definitely an issue. And if you do pick up that option and show another year of faith into Fields, like you actually are taking that leap of faith. But what you just said, I agree with you. You can me personally, I like Drake May. I know the Mitch kind of ruined the UNC experience, but I like Drake May. I think he's very prototypical NFL ready right now. But there's options out there. You got your boy Michigan, JJ McCarthy. You got Michael Penix. You got Bo Nix, even though I don't really like him. You got Shador. You can draft a quarterback later and still fill other needs without going Caleb. I'm not here to down talk Caleb. He might very well be the next Mahomes. I don't know. But I just know that's not how you build a winning team. No quarterback has walked into a situation as bad as the Bears and just turned it around, just him. No
Yep.
quarterback.
Yep.
Even Trevor Lawrence is having success now, but Jacksonville built that team up.
Yeah. And they also built their defense really before they built their offense.
They built up trenches, man. You have to.
Right. Right. Well, games are won in the trenches. Defense wins championships. I mean, that's not a motto of the NFL for literally no reason. Like, no
Yeah.
matter the way the NFL changes, the running backs are going to be the highlight of offenses, and now they're not. Now it's the passing attack. Those two statements will never change, no matter what happens in the NFL. So
Yeah.
you're right. Build up the trenches. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. So wrapping a bow up on the quarterback conversation, give me some realistic expectations for Tyson Sunday for you. As far as I don't think the game plan will change much. Honestly, I really don't. But what are like some realistic expectations for you this weekend?
Well, he's going to be under pressure a lot. Max Crosby is one of the premier edge rushers in the NFL. So I want to see him make good decisions when he gets under pressure. I mean, he had a full week of first team reps, so hopefully that helps him with his decision making. And try to keep turnovers to a minimum. I mean, with this game, we know as of yesterday, Garoppolo's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a backup quarterback versus a backup quarterback.
Brian Hoyer, baby.
Yeah, right. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about backup quarterbacks, but Brian Hoyer has a lot of experience in the NFL. He started quite a few games. So you still have to play a guy who's a veteran in the NFL. I just make good decisions under pressure and try not to turn the ball over, especially for touchdowns. If you turn the ball over, I understand because you're a rookie, but don't throw pick sixes. Don't let him scoop and score. That's a recipe to lose the game.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you want to see from him?
I'm right there with you, man. I think sorry about that. I don't know what that is in the background.
You're good. You're good.
So I'm right there with you. I think just making good decisions and being smart. If it's 3rd and 15, like you said, don't throw into double coverage, forcing to DJ, and that turns into 6 the other way. Like if it's a check down and you got a punt, then that's just what it is. I want to see confidence, which I think he has. Like you said, Max Crosby is going to be relentless coming off that edge. So I just want to see that pocket presence that he showed in the preseason. And and just delivering smart strikes. Like you said, there is a little wiggle room and a little rope because he is a rookie, especially coming out of D2. So the game is just going to be so fast, especially in the beginning. And I just want to see that calming presence of, hey guys, we got this. Like, I'm going to lead us to victory, and that's about it. Like, that's really all I'm expecting. I'm not going to put too much on his plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and honestly, I think the Raiders are better than people think they are.
Yeah.
So the Bears are definitely going to have a tough time this weekend,
Yeah.
and their offense just isn't very good. That's what their defense is good, and their offense isn't, which makes me think we have a chance in this game because you have a backup quarterback playing it. Their offense isn't. I mean, Josh Jacobs is nowhere near the monster that he was last year.
Yeah.
And the Bears seem to, over the last couple games, be playing the run very well.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can keep that going and force Hoyer to throw, I think we have a good chance in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae Adams is still out there. So that's going to be a problem. But this is one of those games where I was speaking about the opportunity. Jalen Johnson, if he is a true number one and they want to see that out of him, put him out there with Devontae, take that away. But for me, the person I think is going to be the killer for them this week is Jacoby Myers. He's probably going to see a lot of Tariq Stevenson unless they put Kyler there. And Jacoby has actually been Vegas' best receiver this year, working out that slot. And I could see that being the difference between a win and loss. And I can actually see Josh Jacobs doing just enough, like 16 carries for 64 yards and like the ceiling touchdown type of deal. I don't think he'll have a monster game, but I think they will rely a lot on him for those just first down plays.
Yeah, especially if they go up early, you can grind the clock with him because he's one of those guys who, as the game goes along, he gets stronger.
Yeah.
So in the fourth quarter, if you've been running him a decent amount, he'll start having, his 2 or 3 yard runs will turn into 6 yard runs.
Yeah.
And then you got a problem.
Yeah, he's a bruiser for sure. So for me, the biggest key to success is Getty, man. Like, can Getty formulate a plan that's Tyson's strength, keeping the offense on the field? That's going to be the biggest thing I'm watching for this week. It's not Tyson throwing for 300. It's not something out the blue like 7 sacks from us. Like, that's just not going to happen. But what I want to see is Getty formulate a plan, getting the ball out of Tyson's hands quick, sending help to wherever Max Crosby is, and moving the chains in a methodical way.
Yeah, I like that. Also, what side is Crosby on? Left side?
He moves all around, man.
Yeah,
He's all over the place.
I want to see right on Crosby. I'm going to be paying attention to those matchups just because I want to see him how he's growing through the season. Because he has made some mistakes, but he's a rookie. I understand that happens, but also his offensive line the whole offensive line as a whole is just not good. So it's not like his mistakes aren't getting magnified because everybody is making mistakes.
Yeah.
So
if snap the ball.
well, yeah, when you got a guard who's playing center who probably shouldn't be playing center, that's a problem. Draft a true center. Why are we drafting a guard and putting him to center? I know we've already said that on here, but it's just reiteration. Like a guy who's center, that's his job. His whole life is to snap the ball. He's been doing it since he's in high school. This guy's been playing guard and he's played center every once in a while. Now you're like, hey, why don't you play like 30 games of center for us?
Which he's never been good at, by the way.
Right, exactly.
Shout out to Cody. He's been a great guard, but no.
Right. And you're taking him out of his best position. That's again where I talk about the coaches coaching to get the most out of your player. You're actually hindering Whitehair by putting him at center because that's not where he excels.
Yeah. Incompetence, man.
Yeah, it's not rocket science, man. How come we can all see it and nobody else, in the organization can see it?
Right. So what's your predictions for Sunday? Give me a bold take and your game prediction.
bold take. A bold take.
or a bold prediction, whatever.
Let's see. I think that I think this is going to be Darnell Mooney's best game of the season.
Damn it.
Is that what you were going to say? I only say that because he really hasn't had a good game, really, realistically. Yeah. But also when the chemistry isn't there sometimes for the starter and him, sometimes when that second string guy comes in, he's looking at other people that maybe he's more familiar with, or that obviously DJ Moore is going to get his, but I feel like Mooney will have a great game. My prediction, even though it's two second string quarterbacks playing each other, I think the veteran presence of Brian Hoyer, the bad offensive line from the Bears is going to force Badgent into some bad throws. He'll be sacked probably quite a few times.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 24-17 Raiders.
Yeah. It's not, I'm right there with you. My bold prediction for the game. Actually, I know I kind of like shitted on the defense earlier, but I think they'll get 3 sacks. I mean, they should. I would think so. Like you said, Brian Hoyer is a veteran, but come on, man. Like, we can't pressure Brian Hoyer. The defense has been playing better. Flus has been bringing more pressure, which I am glad to see, even though I wish he would mix it up a little bit instead of just bringing Jaquan off the edge every time. But I do think we'll end up getting 3 sacks. As far as the game prediction, I'm going low, man. I'm going 19-14. But Vegas still pulls it out. I think it's going to be an ugly game, just a run fest, a lot of short throws, a lot of punts. And ultimately, like I said, I think it'll just come down to Vegas will just have the ball more. So naturally, more points will get scored that way. Josh Jacobs probably put it to bed. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. I like the take on the defense because they have been playing a lot better. So
yeah,
I hope you're right, man. If they can get in there a couple times, cause a little bit of havoc, they might make something happen. You never know.
Yeah.
Do you got any bets you're going to throw on this weekend?
So bets I like. Actually, I'll just go from the Bears Vegas game. I'm right there with you on the Mooney. I don't know how many. I'm not going to go crazy and say 100, but I think if you go like 60 plus for Mooney, that's plus money. I actually like that bet because I think so much attention will be on DJ, and a lot of the times if the pressure's coming, Mooney's quick, man. I think you just get him with a quick out, a quick slant, quick dig. He's going to get a lot of opportunities to rack up the yards after catch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For the Vegas side, I like Jacoby Myers. Not just saying that because he's on my fantasy team, but they've been going to him, man. Like if you look at the numbers, he's damn near wide receiver 1. Like obviously he's not, but numbers wise, he's been getting the targets. He's been getting the looks. However, they're dialing it up over there. Jacoby is getting the looks, man. And if he's playing out of that slot or out of that second spot, Tyreek's been struggling. So those are my 2 plays for Sunday.
Yeah. So the over under is 37.5. And usually when it's that low, I don't like to go under. I usually like to go over. But like Mike said, there's a high probability that there's lots of punts, lots of running, which means the time goes off the clock. So I do like the under in that game. And I'm going to take probably the Raiders defense to get at least 5 sacks. That would be something else I would bet on. I know that Badgent gets the ball out fast, but I think that Max Crosby is going to cause so many problems. It's going to force him to hold it and run out. And sometimes you run into another defender when you do that.
Yeah. Honestly, man, I watched the game last week against New England. Max Crosby has been like a top 3 edge rusher this season that I've watched. Like seriously, he's a problem, dude. You know, he's played every snap the last 3 games.
That's wild.
His motor is insane.
I think that this is my personal opinion, the only edge rusher that's better than him is Myles Garrett.
A lot of people would agree with you this year. I tend to lean towards Micah just because he's so diverse and he can play multiple positions. But dude, for the game-winning safety, Max Crosby was double teamed. Like, I don't know, man.
The only reason I put Micah at third is that his defense around him is so good, which helps him excel.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Browns defense, also a good defense, but I think part of the reason they are so good is because of Myles Garrett. And the Raiders, their defense is just like, I would say, average.
Yeah, they're okay.
And Max Crosby is still putting in work. So
yeah,
I just think, it's that just goes to show you we got no one from the Bears to talk about rushing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And real quick, back to the Caleb Williams thing. I think I still have a little worry just because I said edge rushers is that we drafted right and we passed Jalen Carter, and Jalen Carter is wrecking things in Philly, that I'm worried if we pass on Caleb and he goes somewhere and he becomes like this 5-time Super Bowl champion, that I'll never forgive the Bears for passing up on him. But then the other part of me is no, go ahead.
No, and that's just what I was saying earlier when you asked me the question, like, what would I do? I think that part of it, what you just said, is just such a huge factor of it. You know, we already can't live down the passing of the actual Mahomes. It's like, dude, this guy fell right in your lap. They've been saying he's the next Mahomes for 2 years now, and you pass him to keep Fields, who's been inconsistent at best. You just can't take that risk, unfortunately. So I'm right there with you.
I agree. The problem is I think Fields will go somewhere else and be very successful. And I hope he is. He seems like a great person. He seems like he just wants to win. Yeah. And unfortunately, he got stuck with bad coaching staff, So
yeah, he got dealt a bad hand for sure. And when or if he does go somewhere, I'll definitely still be a Fields fan. And I wish a lot of fans could do that as well. Like in Chicago right now, it's like you're either all Badgent or you're all Fields, and you hate the opposite. At the end of the day, we're all Bears fans. Like we want the Bears to succeed no matter who the quarterback is. Fields has been a A1 person, player in that locker room, playing through injuries, like giving his all with literally a shit roster in a bad situation since he's been here. So I just want the fans to like chill on the like disrespect towards them. At the end of the day, we want the Bears to succeed, and however that is, like, all respect to the other players who couldn't make that happen.
Like you said, he's been giving it his all, and I've heard a lot of things on like, hey, it's just a dislocated finger, or what is it, thumb?
Yeah, thumb.
Dislocated thumb. Oh, why can't he play? There's other players who play through that. TJ Watt put his dislocated finger back in and came in and got a game-winning sack.
Yeah.
But when you put it in perspective, if it's on his throwing hand, which it is, it means you can't grip the ball right.
Yeah.
That's why Justin Herbert can play with a fractured finger, because it's on his non-throwing hand.
And he's been struggling.
And he has been struggling. And don't get me wrong, of course I'd love to see Fields play through an injury, and he probably wants to play through this injury. But does he benefit the team by not being able to grip the ball the right way when he tries to give it to Foreman or Johnson or whoever's back there? It's probably going to pop right out of his hand. When he goes to throw a ball, it's a lame duck, it gets picked off. Then people are going to say Fields sucks.
Yeah.
Why don't we just let the guy heal up and let him come back in 2 or 3 games? Season's over already anyways.
I'm going to leave us with this. You said the season's over anyways, right? Do you know the Bears are 2 games out of the playoff spot right now?
That just made me sick to my stomach. Don't give me hope like that, Mike.
So if they win Sunday, and I don't know who's in that spot right now, loses, they'll be one game back from a playoff spot.
That is
Crazy, isn't it?
insane.
It's insanity.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought Green Bay and Minnesota, aren't they in there?
Think about their records. They only have 2 wins. Well, Minnesota only has 2 wins.
God, we really needed to win that game.
Think about if we would have beat Denver, beat Minnesota, hell, beat Tampa Bay. This season, this conversation that we just had, the narrative around this team would not be happening.
Yeah, it'd be more like, what are we going to do without Fields on the field?
Yeah, like we'll be freaking out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get it though. It's something new, man. People are just excited to see Badgent, and he throws so quick. It's just a sense of excitement there that we haven't had since the beginning of Fields, if we're being honest here. Like, it's always been some veteran quarterback that's already at their peak. Foles, Dalton, McCown, whoever, the list goes on. Now we finally have this young guy with this confidence coming in. People are just happy to see it. So just temper your expectations. Remember, he's a rookie. Remember, he's coming from D2. Don't just crucify him for every mistake that's made.
Right. Unfortunately, being Chicago Bears fans and seeing how other fans are, that's exactly what'll probably happen. They'll probably crucify him and then be like, "Hey, when's Fields coming back?" Or hey, didn't we just sign what's that kid?
Trace McSorley.
Yeah, well, put him in. He needs to play. Yeah.
Unfortunately, life of a Bears fan, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Leave it at that. You got anything else for us?
No, we'll see you Sunday after the game.
Yep, we'll see you Sunday, hopefully after a win, and bear down.
Bear down.